Enough Said is brought to you by Sheldon Street Pizza. Visit them online at sheldonstreetpizza.com or stop by Sheldon's during your next trip to Lake Orion. Sheldon Street Pizza, the official pizza of Enough Said. And by Fourth Coast Cider Works. Quality craftsmanship, quality hard cider. You can check them out online at fourthcoastciderworks.com or come get a can or a howler at their Canterbury Village location. Not available for anyone under the age of 21. Please drink responsibly. I am joined now by the head coach of the new Lothrop Hornets. The 10-2 new Lothrop Hornets travel to Clare this Saturday to take on undefeated Traverse City St. Francis. Not much on the line here, just a trip to Ford Field to play for the Division VII state championship after Thanksgiving. Here to talk about that is the head coach of the Hornets, Clint Galvas. Clint, this has probably been a very exciting weekend for you guys as you get ready to prepare for this game. What has the mood been like in practice this week?
Yeah, obviously, it's a pretty exciting time for for the team, obviously. But I honestly, it's been pretty focused, and kind of, to be honest, like business as usual as far as practice goes. And I kind of like that mentality. I like where we're at right now mentally with that.
You guys have been on this stage a few times in the last 5 years. What has it been like for you personally to be back on the sidelines coaching a game in the state semifinals?
Yeah, I mean, it's like obviously every team's a little different and, group and experience, but, yeah, I mean, I just kind of, this is, everyone's trying to each team tries to make their own mark. And I think this 2022 group of seniors is trying to make their own mark. And so I don't really, I guess, compare a whole lot as far as that goes. I mean, obviously it's nice to kind of, as a coach, probably, I guess, having that little bit of experience and just knowing how things are going to play out. Even with the morning breakfast on a Saturday, because it's not like we play Saturdays ever, really, unless you get to this point for us. So I guess just having that, like I said, a little bit of routine, knowing how things are going to play out. We're going to have a morning breakfast. We're going to load the bus. We're going to get there at, what time, how that's going to look and all that stuff. So that kind of familiarity is kind of nice to have. But at the same time, it's new for most of all these guys. We got a couple of guys, obviously, that played on the 2020 team. But as a whole, it's new for this team. And so it's kind of cool to see them kind of take that all in too, because it's all new, so that's kind of fun to see that, with these guys.
Yeah, a lot of these guys, they grew up watching the Hornets from the last couple of years, the 2018 team that won a state championship and the 2020 team that won a state championship. So they know what is possible if they put in the work in the offseason. They make things happen during the regular season. They follow the mindset of what you install in them. But, as far as these kids go this weekend, they know what's at stake if they win. You guys get a chance to play for another state championship. That's what happens if you win this game. But that doesn't happen if you don't take care of business this Saturday against Traverse City St. Francis. How have you been able to keep your kids focused on that game and not look ahead to next week?
Yeah, no, there's no looking ahead. I mean, this is the number one team in the state. We're playing a team that's undefeated, a team that's rolled through everyone they played. And it's not like they played a weak schedule. They played some very tough teams and handled them pretty easily. So there's definitely, I don't have to worry about these guys looking ahead. Our sights are solely focused on Traverse City St. Francis, and we know this is, right now it's the top dog. They're ranked number one for a reason, and so we put a lot of obviously a lot of time and we put together what we think to be a pretty good game plan, and the hard work is done as far as that goes. So.
You are facing a very difficult team in Traverse City St. Francis. They are 12-0 for a reason. Are you worried at all that there might be a bit of an intimidation factor for your guys when you step out onto the field this Saturday?
No, I think our guys, like I said, are pretty focused as far as that goes. But we were talking with our staff a little bit too about that, where it's like when you're playing powerhouses, St. Francis and Lumen Christi and maybe even to a lesser extent when teams play, come and play New Lothrop, it's like sometimes I think teams are beat before they even play us. They see like it's like the name in the chest and like, man, they've had a lot of success, and you can kind of tell that. Well, I can tell you, St. Francis isn't going to be that team, and I don't think I know our guys. We're not going to be that team, so you can throw that out. It's going to be in my eyes two heavyweights slugging it out, and like I said, we'll see what happens, but. As far as that goes, I think it's two really good programs playing each other, and they weren't, we're not going to intimidate them, obviously, and they're not going to intimidate us. And I just think, the best team's going to come out at the end as the winners.
With regards to what you've been able to put together on St. Francis and see what they've done this year, what kind of challenges do they pose to your team?
Oh man, they're a big, strong, physical team, and they're just obviously very, very well coached by Coach Sellers. That's a pretty historic name up there with his dad and what he's been able to do as well. And so they're going to be very well coached, but they're going to line up and try to run the ball right at you and jam it down your throat. And, if we're not able to stop it, then they don't have to adjust. So we want to try to, do our best to get them out of what they want to do. And that's pound the ball. And I think if, we're able to do that a little bit, we'll be right there in the game.
You mentioned it just a second ago. You still have a few guys that are left over from that 2020 team that won a state championship against Traverse City St. Francis. That was 2 years ago. There's probably more than a few people that were on the sidelines for Traverse City St. Francis, and maybe even some in the stands that day, and they probably remember that, and they're probably eager to return the favor against you guys. How do you prepare for a team that might have that type of mindset?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really worry about what their motivation is. I mean, if I'm on their side, absolutely. I'm sure they want to, get back at us. And, they got some kids that were playing on it. I mean, including their quarterback, who was a starter, was a sophomore back in 2020. He's now a senior, and a couple other kids. And we have a couple as well. I mean, we have, Grayson Orr and Jaden Curry, who were played in that game for us as well. So, we got guys, they got guys. I don't worry about too much about what our opponent's motivation is. And, I'm more worried about us and our motivation. And I think we got plenty of motivation knowing what we get if we win this game.
In terms of how you guys are feeling physically, what is the overall health of the Hornets going into this game?
For going into week 13, we're as healthy as we can be going into week 13. I mean, we got the normal bumps and bruises and taped ankles and shoulder braces and all those things that come along with playing 13 weeks of football. But we've been blessed as far as no serious injuries, right? Up to this point, and hopefully that continues for us and for them. I don't wish injury on anyone, and for when it looks like they're pretty healthy as well. So, and that's what you want, right? I mean, you want both teams at full strength to see who the best team is.
You guys go into this game 10-2. And if it weren't for 3 points, you guys would also be 12-0. You guys had those two back-to-back losses against Ovid Elsie and Durand mid-season. One was 14-13, the other one 23-21. Two narrow losses. What was the biggest takeaway from those two losses that you had?
Yeah, I really wouldn't change a thing looking back on this season, and I can kind of liken it to our 2018 team when we were kind of just rolling along. Kind of beating everyone pretty handily. And in fact, we went up in 2018 to play St. Francis at week 9 and they beat us and really gave us a little bit of humble pie. And it's kind of a same situation here. We were rolling along, kind of breezing through, had a big win, obviously week 1 against a top ranked Lumen Christi team. And I think maybe we were feeling pretty good about ourselves. We were getting away with a lot of things such as turnovers and bad penalties throughout the year. And then, we ran into, Ovid Elsie and Durand and continued those same things with turnovers and penalties. And I think it finally, probably a good thing, it bit us. And, we were able to kind of look back and, hey, and I think it really opened the guys' eyes. Like, we can't continue to do this. We can't continue to turn the ball over. We can't continue to have, silly penalties that kill our drives. And so that really kind of, I guess, was brought to everyone's attention. And we were able to kind of correct those things and fix those things. And like I said, I think it really just refocused our guys, to be honest, and made us realize, hey, listen, maybe we're not as good as we thought we were, and maybe we need to readjust, and maybe we need to fix these things. And I think we've been able to do that. And and like you said, I think those losses really kind of what strengthened this team and made us who we are. And I told them after that, those games that we don't want to be hitting our stride week 7. I mean, it stinks to lose, but at the same time, it's, we don't want to be playing our best football at that point. We definitely weren't. And now I really think we're hitting our stride at the right time, this is when you want to be playing your best football. And I think that we are.
Mistakes at this stage of the season can be very costly. And not only that, but you also have to try to avoid those mistakes while playing out in the elements, because winter is rapidly approaching. It could be a situation this Saturday where you guys have to play in very cold conditions and very snowy conditions. Have you had a chance to really practice with those elements this week?
Yeah, we have a couple times. We practice out in the elements. We've also been able to get indoors a couple days this week on some turf and get a couple practices in there as well. Because, yeah, it's kind of, as a coach, you want the guys to kind of feel that cold, to feel that snow. So just so they, it's not the first time, and they kind of, I guess, know how their body's going to react a little bit too. But at the same time, it's nice to get indoors and be able to kind of really take advantage of that and get a good practice in. And I think we've been able to do that a couple times. But like I said, as well as get outside and kind of feel the elements that Michigan's been giving us this week. And because it looks like you said, Saturday might be similar. It's going to be cold, possible snow. So, we'll be ready for that.
I remember my first state semifinals game at Clare High School in the snow. I think I was out in 4 inches. I don't think you guys are going to be having to deal with that. So hopefully Mother Nature will be a little kind to both schools when it comes to getting everybody out there. And, certainly you want the crowd to come out and be a part of this too, even though it could be cold and snowy. How has the community really responded to what you guys have done this year?
Well, I mean, being around it a little bit too. I mean, Lothrop's a pretty special community, and the backing that we get from our community is huge. And I can pretty much assure you that Saturday at 1:00, our town's going to be a ghost town. I think, as usual, I think they're all going to be there supporting us. And, obviously it's much appreciated. It means a lot to this team. And, knowing that is obviously an added incentive for our guys to go out there, and you're not just playing for the brothers next to you and the staff and obviously your school, but you're playing for a whole community, and a community that really loves you. And so that makes it extra special.
I have been a part of New Lothrop football, but I haven't had a chance to go to a New Lothrop game in a couple of years because of the fact of geography from where I'm located now.
Right.
Which, one thing I've noticed watching the highlights on the TV stations in the Flint area, you guys recently, or maybe it wasn't so recently, you switched uniforms. You were going with the all-gray look. Those are really sharp uniforms that you got. When did you come out with those, and will you be wearing them this Saturday?
That was our first playoff game. We came out with them. Obviously, we won, and then our guys are pretty superstitious about things, and so we kept them for the Palamo game, and then we won. And so, of course, we had to wear them last week for the regional championship as well, which I didn't know. I guess like gray on gray is like they call it grout fit. Like it's I just learned this myself.
That's new to me.
Yeah, so if you're wearing like a gray, you're not supposed to wear gray on gray. Apparently, it's taboo, like for fashion. Okay, this is coming from the kids, which I thought was kind of funny. So, of course, we're wearing gray on gray for outfits, and they call it like that's a grout fit. So we've been wearing our grout fits for the last 3 weeks, and they've been pretty successful. Unfortunately, we're considered the away team for this one, and you have to wear white. So we will be wearing our white jerseys this week. But it's all good. We're pretty confident in those as well.
Hey, it doesn't matter how you look as long as you get the job done this Saturday. Right. Doesn't matter what you have on. Doesn't matter how dirty you get, although I think you'll be playing on turf anyway, so that really won't matter. That won't come into play. So you don't have to worry about getting the laundry all messed up. But in terms of this game this Saturday, what would a win mean for you and your program?
I mean, it'd be very special really for this group of guys. I mean, that's what means the most to me is like, these guys deserve it. This group of 13 seniors is a special group. They've just been playing together a long time. You hear the old saying, you play for the brother next to you, but man, these guys literally, that's what they do. And that's been the difference for us. And these guys have put in as much work as any group I've ever coached. And they just deserve this. And so, we're going to go out there and give it our all. But I mean, if we're able to walk out with a win, it would just, it would be pretty special especially for this group of seniors. And so, we know what's on the line, and we're going to go do what we do and play for that guy next to us, and play with the same heart and intensity and passion that we played with all year. And hopefully that's enough, because that's all we can do. So we'll see what happens.
Well, no matter what happens, I hope I get one more chance to talk to you next week about your kids, either talking about all the great things that they've accomplished, getting to the state finals, or everything that this group did for your program and the community. New Lothrop is taking on Traverse City St. Francis this Saturday at Clare High School in the state semifinals. A trip to the state finals on the line in this one. It's going to be a great matchup. Clint Galvas, thank you so much for once again making the time for me. You've been with me every step of the way this week, except for that one time, but that's okay. I know you were not feeling that well, but you did win that game too, so that doesn't matter. Yeah. But thank you so much for being a part of this amazing ride that you've shared with me this whole season long.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on, man.
Want to hear more about the new Lothrop Hornets? Then head to my website, aduffsaid.com. Head coach Clint Galvas has been on my podcast, A Duff Said, many times over the years, and you can hear all of those conversations by subscribing to A Duff Said on the Podbean app, Apple Podcasts, the iHeartRadio app, or wherever you get your podcasts.